Hi everyone, Alex here. It's been around 5 months since I got my Odin Pro, and I've been doing videos on it for around 3 months now. I started to think about how I like this device even more than when I first got it. There's several reasons for this. I've been getting more familiar with these emulators and testing more games out to get them running as nice as possible, which has always been a really rewarding experience. But some of these emulators have been getting substantial updates throughout the year too. On top of this, there's a great community around the Odin on Reddit and Discord, and they've been a great source of inspiration when it comes to things like modifying games to play even better than before. So I feel like it's a good time to make an updated review on the AYN Odin Pro. So let's get into it. This is the Pro model of the Odin. I've never tried the base version. I believe the only difference is the amount of RAM the device has. If you're interested in an Odin purely for emulation, then this shouldn't make much of a difference overall. And the light model hasn't shipped yet as far as I know. This is the 128GB model. I was a very early backer of this device. I wasn't given an option for a 256GB Odin. The 256 will be even more ideal if you decide you want to add another OS to the device as you split your internal storage in half for dual booting, which is something relatively new, and people are now running Windows and Android on this device. I won't be covering dual booting because I've decided I don't think it's great for me, and I've pre-ordered a Loki, which is AYN's next Windows-based handheld. But some people are going to find that really useful, so if you're into that idea, you should definitely do your research. What else? I've only recently decided to remove the caps off the control sticks and replace them with Vita thumb grips. It was really easy. I was able to just dig my thumb underneath and pull out the cap. It's quite a tight fit, the original ones, but they're fine and you can put them back on if you need to. Turn that back on. But these Vita thumb grips work very well, and there's a variety of styles you can get. You can just order them from eBay or Amazon. You just got to search for them, and pretty easy to find, very cheap. And yeah, you'll find a style that works well for you, and they have like a little bit of extra grip and just a little bit easier to move than the originals. But I personally don't have a lot of I didn't have any gripes with the original sticks. They're fine for me, but some people have like bigger thumbs, bigger hands, and that can be frustrating. The Odin also has extra buttons on the back here, these two paddle buttons. I call them paddles, but I think they're named M1 and M2. They're very handy for extra functionality with like Android games, mapping buttons on emulators, hotkeys, so they're great to use, and I ignored them for a long time. Yeah, and after 5 months, my Odin still works perfectly fine. It's still great to use, well built, a great battery life, and AYN is still like putting updates to this device, which is nice. It's been a little while since the last one, but they're still continuing to like add software to it. It's a fantastic Android device with a lot to offer, so I really want to get into that. So let's start off with what's on my front page. So I've got some streaming apps here. So Steam Link will connect you to your PC. I'm not going to do that today, but you know, it's just, it is what it is. It connects to your Steam, and you can even use your PC like that too. Game Pass works very well if you're subscribed. I actually don't have a subscription right now, but I'm on 5G and cloud gaming. You can't install games on here, but 5G is going to work very well for any of these cloud games, and they're always adding fantastic games to this, and this is a great device to play that way. So if you're interested in just like sitting on your couch with a handheld playing any one of these new titles to just stream to your device and you have good Wi-Fi, absolutely go for it. It works very, very well. And I have shown a little bit of that once. This is Chiaki, which is streaming my PlayStation 4 right now. There's a page where it shows like the IP address of the PlayStation you've set up, and I didn't want to show that. So I'll show this just for a moment. This is my PlayStation 4 with Bloodborne, and as soon as it starts up, the PlayStation 4 is just going to sound like it's going to take off, I think. Yeah, I can hear it right now. So, yeah, it works really good. it's pretty responsive. I'm sure there's like some people who are going to be a little frustrated that it isn't one-to-one, but you know, you're streaming the device, so it's not always going to be perfect. I feel like as you use this more, it feels a little better, but I don't know if I'm just imagining that. The only downside to this app, so all the buttons mapped perfectly from the go, but if you want to use your home button, you have to go to on screen. Oh my god, the PlayStation 4 is so loud. And you have to do it like this. So I'm actually going to turn off my PlayStation 4. It's the base model, and I hate it now. Hang on a second. I didn't want to show that page. Okay, so yeah, stream to your PC, Game Pass, streaming apps. So I have Chiaki there, GeForce Now, PS Remote Play, and Moonlight as well. I don't really use those. That's not really why I have the device, but I'm just showing you what you can do with it. So let's have a look at Android gaming for a moment. So I've stuck all my Android games in this little folder here. I've shown this off in a different video. I managed to get Trials of Mana loaded onto this device. If you try to buy this game with the Odin on the Google Play Store, it won't let you because it isn't identified as one of the devices that has been tested. So I did a video on this of how you can like load this onto your Odin if you really want to. But there's a lot of Android games you can play on this. Classic, you know, a lot of people want to play Genshin Impact, the new Diablo game. I'm not really a Diablo fan, so it's not really for me. I've just got some Android games I thought I would be interested at one time or another. And I did start playing Trials of Mana, but I haven't got super far. But I just want to show that this works. So, it's all touchscreen, but the Odin has a function where if I pull down the menu, put on this floating icon, and I can pull this out here. And if I go to key adapter, this is where you can set up touchscreen functionality with all your buttons. So you can pull a button to anything on the screen. You can pull a control stick, for the left or the right, anywhere on the screen, and then it'll do exactly where it is on the screen. So I've got loads of things mapped there to play this like, you know, a regular controller game, and it works very well. There's no like weird inputs or anything. It all just works as you think it would. You place the button and it does what it does. So I was really happy with that, and I'll get back to playing this at some point. Unfortunately with the Odin there's just too much to play. That looks and runs really nice. Fantastic. Bunch of Android games here. I wanted to show Crosscode because this is actually this isn't on the Play Store or anything. You can't buy this, but what this is somebody made a way to play the PC version on the Android system. So if you bought the game, you have the files on your computer, and all it needs to do is transfer those files into like an OBB. Sorry, that confused me for a moment. And all the buttons work. It works just like a controller game should. I was actually really excited to play this, but the more I played it, the more I realized it wasn't for me. So I'm less interested in this game, but it is really good, really well made. If you were interested in playing this on your Odin, it works fantastically. I haven't touched this for weeks now, so I didn't get any further than when I was before. So I just wanted to show that Crosscode works that way. There's a port of AM2R, which works wonderfully. If you want to play the fan-made remake of Metroid 2, it all works as intended. I played this when this first came out. I haven't played it in a really long time, but yeah. I think to play this game better, at the moment, it's got this button as jump and this button as fire. I'll actually show this. So if I go to my settings and then go down to Odin settings, I can go to ABYX mode and change it to Xbox. Close it. Go back to the game. And now it's going to use... Maybe I should restart the game. Okay. But that does work. And that's also probably the ideal way of how you want to use RetroArch. I found that for N64 emulation in particular, if you wanted to do that in RetroArch, it's better to swap your control style to Xbox. Okay, so now it's these two buttons, which is preferable. So that works fantastic. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to change my buttons back because I actually prefer it in the sort of Nintendo style. I think it's just because I got so used to playing the Switch recently. So there's a lot of like things to look over here if you needed to. You can also like check out the dead zones and things of your controllers. I think that's with the floating icon, but I'm going to turn that off because some people don't like that little white line on the side, so that's how you turn that off. At this point I should mention actually that my Odin is always in high performance mode, and then I turn the fan on to smart so that it only goes higher when it needs to, and this is going to get the best performance out of your Odin, and there's really not much reason to have it any other way. It just uses the extra power when it needs to. Yeah, so those are Android games. Minecraft, they all work. The only game that probably doesn't work fantastically is Bloodstained. Maybe because I'm used to playing it at 60 frames. I think it steadily hits 30 but dips here and there. It also has incredibly slow load times, which is crazy. So, right. Let's get into emulation. That's probably the most important thing about this device. Let's have a look at RetroArch. I'm not going to go into how I've set everything up. People are going to set things up differently, and people like to have Launchbox or something. They like a front end for all their games, whereas I actually prefer all this. This is nicer to me. And for RetroArch, this is where I do GBA, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, NES, SNES, Mega Drive, Sega CD. I don't actually touch Sega Saturn and N64 in here, but some people are going to probably prefer that. I think their respective emulators, which I'll show later, work just fine. So what have I been playing recently? Sonic Advance, I had a little try. I'm just going to show you that they look really nice. I've got some hotkeys here, so this is a load state. Overall, there's really going to be no surprise with RetroArch. All of these retro games are just going to run really nice and look good too. So yeah. What else did I look at? GBA. Castlevania. Array of Sorrow. Oh, that's strange. The buttons I remapped didn't save. I don't know if that's because of the save state. I'm just going to change that right now. If I go to options, oh sorry, controls, port 1, I would like to, oh no, they are set. I got confused because I don't have the ability yet. So I don't want to spend too much time looking at RetroArch. There is a little bit of setup for it. I'm not going to go into that because there are very good guides already. Like Retro Game Core has a wonderful guide in setting up your RetroArch for like Android devices overall. which is great. Good stuff. Quick menu and close. Also had a quick look at Advance Wars. Just want to show that it all looks and sounds nice. Welcome to Advance Wars. I never played this. One day I'll probably lay down and probably want to play for a load of these games. I don't have like every game. I've said this before. I've got a collection of games that I also own but also really like as well. Probably go into the favorites, history, and show something else I've played. Just some little games I've tested here and there. I've also set some hotkeys so I can fast forward. I press the back paddle and then hold the right stick to fast forward, or I press it up to toggle fast forward. You know what? Every time I do videos, I play really badly. Now, I don't know if that was game slowdown or emulation slowdown. I'm pretty sure it wasn't emulation slowdown. Anyway, awesome. Very retro games run great. And speaking of retro games, I've dumped some emulators here I don't use, just some different forks. There's a Scum emulator as well. I showed this before in a different video. I've got Leisure Suit Larry games. I just wanted to test some of these out. So if this is an emulator where you can play old DOS games, old CD-ROM games. I haven't really played any of these, but I just wanted to show in this video that you can. If you want to play point and click, you can move your finger around to do the mouse, or you can use your right stick to control the mouse. There's Indy. I never know what he's saying at that point. So I can use the right stick to do the mouse, or I can move it with my finger, and that's pretty cool. It works very well. So if that interests you, because it does kind of interest me, maybe one day I'll be really into the idea of playing those games. More retro, let's go into MAME. Everything on MAME runs fantastically. Well, maybe... it depends on the game. You'll see at the bottom here. I've actually only picked out games that I'm pretty sure worked. So I've got greens and some yellows. But if it says red, missing something or not tested for some reason, then yeah. So let's have a look at anything. Metal Slug. Let's try that. Pop some coins in. That's fine. That's just what the arcade machine does. Pop some coins in. Press start. I don't know how I've mapped these buttons, but whoops, I don't mean to do that. Mission. Whoops. The more I've used the Odin now, the more I used to really like these clicky buttons. Now, depending on the game, it can, if you're pressing buttons a lot, like click, 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 click. What was I playing the other day, and I felt like I wanted a really responsive button, but because of the way there's like there's a little bit of push in these buttons, where if you were playing a game that needed very, very, very like reactive button presses, then you might have to be very ready to push down quickly. But all in all, me personally, I enjoy all the buttons on this device. Maybe the L1 and R1s are... the thing is, I have an early device, and supposedly they've updated how they've built the device and put the L1 and R1 buttons in. So it might be that if you were to get a device now, you'd have actually improved L1 and R1 buttons. I do feel bad for some of the people that are ordering this device and are having to wait a very long time to get their own. Unfortunately, that's just the way some things are these days. Anyway, Metal Slug Front. Let's have a look at something else. I'm not really sure. Die Hard Arcade actually runs really good in this emulator. This is a 3D game, so this will be good to show. Pop some coins in. I don't know if this version or the Sega Saturn version is better, but I have both. It's very quiet. That laugh. Oh, dude, I wonder if you can throw them in the turbine. Wait, he just got hit. I told myself in this video I'll try and be a bit more quiet during gameplay. Oh, get some, McLean. Fucking up. Oh, so tell myself I wouldn't swear either. It's alright. I don't think I'm monetized. Oh no, I don't know which button's which. No, I pressed the wrong button. I pressed punch. Oh, come on. A punch will miss, but a kick won't. Alright. So that's MAME. All of these games I've looked at, I've picked a selection of games that I thought I'd be interested in. These all work awesome. It's really cool to actually go through these MAME games and play them whenever you're bored. So that's most of the retro games. Let's go into Nintendo 64. So this is M64Plus FZ. I have the Pro version. The original version is actually has ads. Every time you start one of these games, a 10-second ad will play. It's kind of frustrating. It's a good emulator though, so I was willing to pay for it, and turns out to be really nice. One thing I love about this is the widescreen works very well when you set it up. I've done a complete video on this, so if you want to check out that video, that'll tell you how to do all the widescreen and everything. And plus, setting up buttons for all these games is really good. I find it easier to do than in, say, RetroArch. And this is like actual widescreen. It works very, very well. When I first got this device, I was looking into retro on here, and sorry, widescreen on here, and somebody had done a video, but it wasn't true widescreen. They were using the Rice graphical plugin with a 16:9 ratio, and that's not how you do this. There's a plugin with a experimental widescreen function, and looks like this, and this is true widescreen. With no stretched HUD, stretched characters, it just extends how you would expect it to. And I've got controller profiles for all these games. So I have different buttons the way I'd naturally feel like I would play an N64 game now like this. So I think I have Z on both of these triggers just because I thought I would like that personally. Oh, do you just crouch here and he... Oh, there you go. Wow, it's been so long since I've fought this guy. Do you just throw him or throw him off? You just throw him. I haven't come across any N64 game that has had any problems. So it's really nice that with this device, there's a whole catalog of retro games that will just run perfectly. And the best thing about them is, like, the size of this device, the screen, the buttons, it all just feels like a really nice premium experience. Like, this is a handheld, an actual game company like Nintendo or PlayStation put out, you know? Nothing feels like... Well, I'm sure some people would say they've got a bad Odin with, like, something not working right. But to me, this feels like an actual device I would buy. Like, for example, I'm not someone that would buy an Ambernic device. I hate the logo. I feel like whenever I look at them, they look like... Some of them look like knockoffs. Some of them look okay. I think the Retroid Pocket 2 is the one that looks the best to me. But for me, that device is too small. And although I love, like, the idea of it being so pocketable, I just don't think I'd want to use it as much. And I'll show you, like, in particular with, like, the Dreamcast, why this device feels so good for emulation, for, like, bigger games. So let's have a look at one more N64 game. Donkey Kong wouldn't work in widescreen. I'm just going to point that out. I don't know why that wouldn't. Yeah, in my last review, I looked at Banjo-Kazooie, and the video quality was bad, and so on and so on. I just want to look at this again and show that it actually is in widescreen now. And this game actually has a 60 FPS patch. I think I just found a code online and added it to my cheats. There's some graphical errors with this widescreen. I don't think other games have this. I'm not exactly sure why that is. I've forgotten all about it, actually. It's probably something I would look into in the future. But if you fancy playing Banjo-Kazooie again, works awesome. The higher resolution really helps. The widescreen's nice, plays very nice. You can also play Banjo-Kazooie and Tooie on Game Pass, so that's an option as well if you really wanted to do that. So I think that's a good look at N64. I've got lots of games here, and they're all I think they all work widescreen. I don't know. I'd have to test them all, but every one I tried was working except Donkey Kong 64. I don't know why that is. The next emulator I want to have a look at is DraStic for the Nintendo DS. I've been using this a lot today because on the Reddit I discovered about widescreen codes. So these are like cheats you can add to add widescreen. So all of these games here pretty much. So we just looked at Mario 64. Here is the DS version with widescreen. And how have I... Oh yeah, this game has a run button. That's really weird. So that's my fast forward button. That helps me show two screens. I'm using my paddles to change the screens. So I can press right paddle to show two screens, and I've set up the second screen like this. Or I can press the left paddle to switch between both screens. I never played the DS version, so I never played as Yoshi and all the other characters. But it looks super good in widescreen, it really does. Because it's like, basically I think if a game is 3D on the Nintendo DS, it's possible to have a widescreen code for it. And they're all online. They're quite easy to search if you just search Nintendo DS widescreen codes. In fact, I probably will in the video description show links to some things if people are interested. But widescreen codes for Nintendo DS, because I didn't really bother with the Nintendo DS, but when I saw it on Reddit, it got me inspired, so I thought I'll check it out. So, let's change game. All of these have widescreens. I don't know why I hate the Legend of Zelda games on the DS, because the game is on the bottom screen. Let's have a look at this for a moment. Continuous. Yeah, so this is the bottom screen, and that's the top screen. It's so weird, and the only way to move Link is to use the touch screen. But your fingers at some point are always going to get in the way. I don't know why they did this. I don't know if there's some kind of like hack to get him to move with the stick. You can kind of set the right stick to act as the stylus, but it doesn't feel very good for this game. Whereas it works quite well for Metroid. No, not Sonic. Go back. For Metroid, it works decently. There's an option for the right stick to be used in FPS mode, and you shoot with the left trigger. I would probably change that. I'd probably swap the triggers for this game if I wanted to play this properly, and then every face button is jump. But alternatively, I can just do this, and I can use the right screen now to move and look around and do the ball, if it will let me. But yeah, this has a widescreen code. I'm pretty sure that looks fine. I never played this one. I think this is the only Metroid game I haven't played. It runs really nice. It looks good. I was pretty excited by these widescreen codes. I think they look awesome. Let's have a look at maybe one more game. Actually, I wanted to show Order of Ecclesia for a moment, because this is a 2D game, so it doesn't have a widescreen patch, or a code rather, but the way I've set it is I changed the screen size just to stretch out a little bit more. Not all the way, but I do this with some 2D games that are like 4:3 ratio. Just stretch them out a little bit more so they still look fine, but they use a bit more of the screen. Yeah, let's have a look at Pokemon. Because someone posted this on the Reddit, and I thought, okay, people love Pokemon. I'm not really into Pokemon, but I think if I ever did play Pokemon, I looked it up. I think I'm playing either Black and White, the first Black and White game, or Heart Gold, Soul Silver, one or the other. So yeah, whenever I need to do touchpad stuff, I can just do this, or quickly flick over and do this. But this is Pokemon Black, using the whole screen. Looks really good. I actually haven't played a single player Pokemon game, like, you know, a campaign, whatever you call it, since, I don't think since Red or Blue, which was back in the late 90s. Great, so that's Nintendo DS. Sega Saturn's going to be very brief. So basically, games are going to run very well on here. Maybe a couple might be a bit weird. There may be some audio issues, and a couple of games might have graphical errors. I forgot about this. Sometimes it refreshes my entire library. I don't know why, and it's going to show duplicates. So if I Oh, it didn't do it this time. So, I don't really know what to look at on here, because I don't do much Sega Saturn. And I was going to look at, I had been going for, I got to disc 3 of Panzer Dragoon Saga, but it's the very start, so I got nothing to show there. But I did a video on this as well, and the games run very well on there. At some point, I'm going to try and get through all the Shining Force 3 games. Wait, it's only showing one. I think I got to update the library. Okay, let's have a look at Panzer Dragoon 2. Did I have a save state? No. Okay. Also, I need to remember, when I started this video, I think my battery was at maybe 92%. I never played any of these games, but I know people really like them. Just works. I don't think this game had any problem. So when I did my video, I remember particularly a game called Dark Savior had some weird graphical errors. There might have been a setting actually to fix that, but I don't know. There might have been one other game. The one thing I noticed is when you do save states on here, if you like turn off the device, come back to it later, use a save, load a save state. I have had like times where it didn't load the audio properly, so I've been a bit weary about using save states in this emulator. Also, I've mapped the D-pad to the stick. It's a little awkward actually, just because it is a D-pad on a stick, but whatever. I just rather use the stick. The D-pad's fine. If I mapped it to that, it works well on there. I just prefer using the stick sometimes. Anyway, yeah, that's Sega Saturn. Very brief, but I just don't do a lot with Sega Saturn. Let's have a look at DuckStation. So this is PlayStation 1. I've got a very good library of PS1 games here. So I was looking at Metal Gear Solid. And this is all with widescreen as well. So we've got the widescreen setting on, and I've got to go to no item. And you know, games like Metal Gear Solid look really beautiful in it. I tried a whole bunch of VR missions in this. I did the starting area, ran around here, it all ran really nice. Let's try and get into some trouble. Let's get him. Oh, yeah, fuck it. Ow. I did this with Twin Snakes as well. I ran here, got killed. No! Where's Final Fantasy 7? This is in widescreen as well. I was surprised because these are all pre-rendered backgrounds. They look really good still. And you go into battle, all widescreen. I think this game is on the Play Store as well. There's a Play Store version. Ooh, that sounded funny for a moment. This game brings back memories so bad. I mean, in a good way. I'm just saying. Yeah, in a good way. God, now they've announced the new Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So yeah, very quick. That looks great. let's go to the top here. I want you to show, so like Alundra, for example, is a 2D game. This is a game that would actually be a little bit more squished, but I set a custom aspect ratio so that it stretches out a little bit more. I think that looks really good. So it just uses a bit more of the screen. I did the exact same thing on my Vita. This is a really beautiful game. I love the pixel art in this game. Wow, rude. And I've done this with all 2D games on the PlayStation 1. There isn't a PlayStation 1 game I come across that doesn't run very well. Did I do it with Castlevania? I think so, yeah. So apologies if I'm like moving the Odin a bit too much. I think I'm 40 minutes into this video. And I'm at an odd angle for holding the Odin. There is something about this game though. I feel like it should be a tad smoother. I'm sure there's something I could tweak there that would maybe overclock. Let's try that. So if I go to game properties, game settings, and go down to widescreen hack is on, by the way. I have global settings, but you can add settings for each individual game. Oh, dude, I don't remember where It's something like GPU overclock. GPU, or is it CPU overclocking? That might have been it. Take that to 200%. See what happens. I think that's a little better actually. So yeah, a little quick fix there if a game isn't seemingly as smooth as you think it should be. I remember Chrono Cross is a game doesn't work like Final Fantasy VII for some reason. I saw that the characters weren't running on the right spots of the pre-rendered background. Sorry, so that's why I've set the window to be like this. I'm not actually going to play this. I'm realizing that I'm spending a lot of time on this video. I just want to show some highlights now. So Metal Gear Solid was great. I haven't dived into the Resident Evil games. Strider 2 looks lovely. This is a 3D game with 2D sprites. So I've got to use the T-pad. Oh no, I clicked the left stick because that's my modifier. So this looks really good in widescreen. I love this game. And of course I'm going to play bad at it. The music's awesome as well. Yeah, and I had a quick dive into Siphon Filter too, just to show a bit more of how nice the widescreen looks. This is a game I haven't played in ages either. I think this game might benefit from a little overclock on the CPU as well, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, so that's PlayStation 1. Runs fantastically. I'm going to dive a little bit into PSP. I don't use PSP very much, but this is a fantastic device for PSP. Something I looked at recently is there's a Suikoden game for the PSP, and it was Japan only. So somebody, these guys did a fan translation. Hang on, I don't want to accidentally press save state. They did a fan translation, and there's also a HD texture pack for this. So I did all that. I put it all on. I thought I'd check this out. Looks and plays really good. Chomp. Wow, that was strong. He missed. I'm not sure if I'll actually play this. I think if I'm ever going to play a Suikoden game I've never played before, it's probably going to be Suikoden 3, which is on the PS2. I haven't tested that actually. So my arm, but it works. Let's have a look at one more game. Let's have a look at the Outrun. I think I have a save state here. Again, I don't want to accidentally press save. Whoa, that's loud. This actually has a couple of hiccups. There's probably a setting I need to tweak again. It usually is a setting, but with some games, you just can't help it. But this game is on the PS2, but it wasn't running as well as I would have liked it to. So then I looked up different versions of this game, and then I realized it's on the PSP, and I was like, well, that's probably going to be the best way to play it, especially since you can upscale and, you know, all that. So it looks really good on here. A lot of PSP games are going to look fantastic on this. And I dove into PSP a little bit recently because I saw on Reddit someone added like HD textures to Ogre Battles, so that all the there's a lot of screens now which look even sharper and nicer, and I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's Outrun, that's racing, runs really well. Okay, let's go to Dreamcast. Again, I've done a whole video on the Dreamcast. Everything on here runs fantastic. Everything's 1080p. I just don't know which game to play. Fighting games in particular are just awesome on here. I forget, I don't need to touch anything on this emulator. I only have to press select. So, and every game, well, not every game, a lot of games on here have a widescreen code, but you have to have a particular file type. You can't use CHD files, I think. I can't remember what it was. The last time I did a video showing this game, I did so badly. But I'm only intending to show it for a moment, so... I also think fighting games are pretty good to play on this device, just because it's a little bit of a bigger device. I don't think I could play fighting games on a small device. But it is a little awkward to record them when you're like moving your hands a lot to do certain moves. Oh, I'm gonna kill him. There, okay. Oh yeah, I don't have to do that. So, go up to games. Let's have a look at, another look at a fighting game. So, Dead or Alive is always a good one to look at. Oh, there it is. I'm not used to seeing that cover for that game. Do I have a save state? I have a save state for the last boss. I've shown this before. All in widescreen, all running smooth. I forgot the buttons. In fact, when I first showed this, I beat this guy first go. This guy's usually quite hard. I don't think I'm going to do it again. Oh, no way, I did it twice. Yeah, Dead or Alive looks awesome. Oh, I'm so used to pressing those buttons to go back. I can just press select, go to games. I got loads of Dreamcast games on here. I actually say one of the reasons I bought this device is because I actually wanted it to be like a perfect Dreamcast machine. which it totally is, but it's that and so much more. So yeah, I've done a whole video on Dreamcast. Didn't go through all of these games, obviously. I went through some of them, but they all work fantastic. I'm just wishing I had some more. I can't remember games I've made save states for. But if you want to look at more Dreamcast, I made a whole video on it, so go check that out. This video is very long. Can't believe it. Okay, so let's have a look at 3DS. So this is Citra MMJ, and games are working very well on it. And this is where I did a video recently where I actually looked into texture packs. So, for example, this game, A Link Between Worlds, I've put a 1080p texture pack on it. It's also at 3x resolution, and it looks beautiful and runs very, very well. And like the Nintendo DS, my paddle buttons switch between screens. Except for the 3DS, I actually like having a very big top screen because it's a widescreen picture and it looks really nice. So yeah, you can play this whole game very, very well. I assume. You never know, actually. There's probably a dungeon that doesn't work. Although I'm having a weird... So I wanted to bring this up, actually. At some point, I think I'm going to replace my left stick, and maybe the right stick as well. There's a company that's going to be making these new replacement Switch joysticks that are going to be even more responsive. And I'm thinking about buying them when they come out and replacing these sticks with them. So I actually have a little issue with my left stick where when I go down right, for example, so I can go up, down, oops, oh no, I'm in the water. Oh, I did it again. Okay, let's do it somewhere else. So I can go up, down, left, right. I can do diagonals, but once I go down right, and it seems to only happen sometimes, he just keeps walking slower. So that's one of the reasons why I want to replace the stick. I don't know if that's something that's degraded over time. Majora's Mask, I also applied, put in 1080p textures. Also, the Project Restoration I've included as a mod, which has restored some functionality to the game, changed some things to make it a bit like the N64 version. This again was at 3x with the 1080p textures, running very nice. As I did last time, I looked down here, these brick textures are so smooth. And I've run around this whole town, it hasn't slowed down, all the textures look nice. One of these days I'll play this game looking this way. I'm surprised this game in particular runs really great at 3x resolution. So there isn't actually much to look at on here. I haven't got any. These seem to reset. You need to turn them on each time. But there it is, 3x resolution, running as it does, 30 frames. See that I'm going down right and he's walking. I've taken the thumb grip off as well to just check if it's getting in the way, but it is the stick. So I might have to replace the stick. It doesn't kill me though. There's not a lot of times where I'm actually trying to go down right, and I don't know. Maybe it's just a case of me opening the Odin and maybe something's stuck in there. You know, like a little bit of dirt that needs just cleaning. Again, I've done a video on 3DS, but I wanted to show those two because they have the texture packs that I really like. You can get more texture packs for different games, so I'll leave a link to that video in the description. Feel free to check it out. I put in the video description there of exactly how you do all this. Now we get into the big boys. So Dolphin for Gamecube and Wii. I didn't know actually which games I was going to show and test here. I've done videos on these, but it's been some time. I know I'd actually like to look at Super Mario Sunshine, because I did a whole video of this as well where I applied a 60 FPS patch. This also uses a X Delta patch to play it in true widescreen, and now I've actually applied HD textures to it as well, so you can see that UI is actually a little bit different. I haven't actually played this in a while. I was getting quite far into it, but then I lost track and started doing other things. So I got to around this world. Yeah, even the text in this HD texture is well, it's not as chunky. Oh, you want to go underwater, huh? Ow, no, the water hurts. So yeah, I can't remember what resolution I've got this running at. It's either 720 or 1080. It might be 720. That probably makes sense actually to get it hitting the 60 frames more often. Oh my god, I can't play today. But there was only one world where this did not really hit the 60 frames, and that was the carnival world. Like once you go inside and there's just so much detail in there, actually would slow down a little bit. But if you avoided a few spots, it was very easily near 60. Yeah, it's really nice. It looks fantastic on here. Someone also on the Reddit talked about Paper Mario. I'm going to show this for a moment because, okay, so I've been toying around with this as well. This also has an X Delta patch to make it proper widescreen. I can't remember what else I did with it, but there's a problem that whenever like the paper people or you go down pipes turn, this is what happens. Super slow down just during that. I've toyed with all sorts of settings. I've overclocked, underclocked. There's nothing I can do to stop that. I don't know why that is, which is a shame. Maybe in MMJR 2 it works fine, but this looks really, really nice. You know, this is a higher resolution than the base game is. I know one day I wanted to play this game. I've already been through here, but I was really trying to find somewhere where I could test reliably the slowdown. But the quickest way for me to test it was that ship turning around. But yeah, with the X Delta patch, it looks very, very good. If you try and play this with the widescreen hacks at 16:9, you get all these like pop-in glitches, which doesn't look fantastic. Unfortunately, like not every game has an X Delta patch. I think, you know, this is only when somebody's decided to make one of these. Mario Sunshine has one. This has one. I'm getting the timings wrong. One of these days I'll have to see exactly which games have them. But for the most part, most games with the widescreen hack in the simulator work really good. So I'm just mashing A now. It's because I'm watching the capture, which is you know, like half a second difference. Paper Mario runs great. So I've done a big video on Gamecube. I don't think the emulator's really changed much since then. I think there's probably been a couple of updates, but as long as you have a little play around with the settings, most of these games are going to run great. All I remember is that SSX Tricky works better in MMJ, Rogue Leaders and Rebel Strike probably not going to work, as well as Spider-Man 2, which I got rid of this emulator because it runs perfectly on PlayStation 2. Someone asked me about Beautiful Joe once. Doesn't run for them. Said it's very slow. Oh, I don't have a save state. Oh, it takes ages to get into the game. So I've done a video here as well. I've had Beautiful Joe running at 1080p, 60 frames. Feel free to check that video as well. Looking at Wii, I also did videos on the Wii as well. I got most of the titles that I've played here, I got running very well. We've looked at games like Super Mario Galaxy 2 before. I updated this emulator at some point and it made all my save states like they don't work, so I had to delete them. It was surprising actually to see the amount of space the states take up on your internal storage after a while. But I'll show again that I've gotten Mario Galaxy 2 working very nicely. The only downside with Mario Galaxy 2 in particular is there's moments where you have to use Yoshi, and the only way to use his tongue is to use the Wiimote. So here's the thing. To get this game running very, very well, you have to have skip EFB access from CPU on. If you turn that off, it gets a bit slower, but now you can use the remote, the pointer. Like that works now, but the game runs a bit slower because of the setting you had to turn off. If you want the game to run absolutely smoothly, you're going to need that on. And I've shown these settings before, but I've got most of these settings turned on. 300% overclock with this game. I don't know if that mattered, but and I've played this a little bit. I played a few levels. Yeah, I've never actually played Galaxy 2 before. I don't know how much you have to use Yoshi. But if it's not much, then this game is definitely very playable. I've also set the emulator so that I can use the touchscreen to do the pointer, which is great. I can't do that level. It's this level on the left here, you have to use Yoshi. I have to press A. Oh, a little bit of chug. That's okay. Oh wow, I don't remember that. So I've gotten a lot of the Wii games I've got here playing very well. Again, did a whole video on it, go check it out. There was a guy on Reddit actually who was like, oh, you know, the Odin sucks, AYN sucks. In fact, the people saying all this stuff runs sucks, they're probably paid. No one's paid me to do videos on this. No one's asked me to do videos on this. I bought this device because I was interested. And because I enjoy this device so much is why I've done as many videos as I have on it. And the only reason I'm not getting super in-depth with Gamecube and Wii is because I've already done a video on those. I've shown that a lot of games work on it absolutely fine. The last thing we're really going to look at actually is Aether SX2. And this is the most important one, I think, when it comes to re-reviewing this device, is that it's been updated a lot since then. And you can also download like the alphas whenever they release those. And there's always something new and interesting about those. And now even more games are playable and run better than they did when I first did a review of this device. I say review, but that was 3 months ago. And so, for example, I did a video exclusively on Spider-Man 2, which is a completely different story to months ago. If I load a state, this is Spider-Man at 3x, so this is like 1080p. You can hear the fan actually going. So these games, you know, they're gonna use more battery life. If you have a full battery, sorry, you can probably play Spider-Man 2 or something demanding like this for a good 3 hours, maybe more, before you need a charge, which is kind of good. But yeah, this entire game on the PlayStation 2, I've been playing this for a while now, a good 5 to 10 hours maybe. Let's say 5, just in case. I haven't encountered any slowdown, any really crazy buggy stuff. It just works. And really surprised me. I actually didn't think Spider-Man 2 was going to be something I'd be able to play on this device, but here I am, playing it a lot. And to kind of prove that I have, if I go to combat upgrades, you can see that I've actually acquired a ton of them already. And I wouldn't play a game like this if I couldn't play it properly, you know. If it was like constantly, say, 80% speed, you know, I wouldn't do it. This game has been 100% speed all the time. In fact, I'll show you a game that is hit and miss in places. There's been different videos showing different parts of the game. I don't like that. I mean, I'm going to show you. So here is a video. Here's a save state of Metal Gear Solid 2. I'm Snake. I'm at the top of the tanker. Nothing much going on. Really smooth. Really nice. I've actually got this running really well now in certain places. It's mostly just 100% around these areas. But as soon as you get a ton of people doing stuff, you're going to start to get some slowdown. So, I don't know if you can see that. It's getting to about 80% speed now. I think the last time I looked at the save state in a different video, it was about maybe 60%. So, sorry, I feel like it has improved a bit. What are we getting at now? Let's say 82. I saw somebody who actually played this. They changed the audio setting so that it didn't try and sync up with the speed all the time. So if you can forgive a bit of slowdown, then maybe you can play this and the sound will play clear. But now if I show you a state where I'm in this giant room with all these people, the fan's going hard. It'll yes, and then things will start to chug quite a bit. So what I've play tested of this, I wouldn't say I would like to play Metal Gear Solid 2 on here. Look at that. Now it's getting quite slow. I wouldn't really enjoy that. Metal Gear Solid's a similar. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a similar deal, but I actually think this game runs a bit better than Metal Gear Solid 2 in most spots. I've shown this a feel like I've shown this area a few times in a couple of videos now, and it's just like, I just wanted to get up to here because you got all these guards. It gets a bit busy, but it doesn't actually dip much. It dips here and there. I feel like if your goal in playing Metal Gear Solid on here is to be absolutely stealthy and not get caught, you're going to save frames as well. And that's probably, yeah, if that's how you want to do it, then it probably is a bit more playable. But whenever you get like into load of action, load of guards and stuff, it's going to slow down here and there depending on the area. I think in this game in particular, it'll be a tolerance thing. Some people will be fine with it, some people won't be. But yeah, Aether SX2 has gotten some really good patches, upgrades, patches that have made some of these games even more playable. Resident Evil 4 on the PS2 is now the best emulator to play Resident Evil 4. This is at 3x resolution, and even with a lot of action, it just doesn't really dip. Sorry, my aim is going to be terrible. Oh, what? It didn't kick. Oh, I wanted to kick him. Again, because I'm using my... Oh, he missed. But yeah, you can see in the top right, even if you can't see the number, it's just white text, which means it's not dipping. So yeah, a few months ago, I would have said Resident Evil 4 was best played on the GameCube emulator. Now it's PS2. This is the best place to play it. It's really, really good. Obviously, I haven't tested anywhere past this area, but you get a lot of enemies in this area, and it's not slowing down. I can really hear the fan going as well on the... Oh yeah, come chop my head off. Yeah. So yeah, I've done actually several videos on this emulator because when there's been like a new patch that is going to show... I remember Urban Chaos, a lot of these games have improved. There was a setting called Disable Hardware Readbacks, which is now hardware download mode. And if you disable that, some games, even Urban Chaos, they run even better. I'm just looking through this list and I'm trying to think of games that don't really run well. I've heard that Valkyrie Profile 2 doesn't work very well. Shadow of the Colossus runs really well. Let's have a look at that for a moment, actually, because I think I have a save state. I think once you actually try taking down this Colossus, it might dip a bit here and there. It's been a while since I tested this. I also try and get these games to run at 2x resolution. If you can get the game running at 2x, even if there's a dip in the frames just a little bit, it just looks very, very nice compared to 1x. So I try and get all of these games to run at 2x whenever I can. I've actually forgotten the buttons. I actually feel like since the last time I've played this, it's running a bit smoother than before. I'm not sure if I tweaked a setting or something, but... running pretty good. But that fan though, I'm not sure if you can hear the fan. The next time it does it, I'll put it next to the microphone so you can hear. But when you play in the game and you've got the volume up quite a lot, you don't really notice it. And if you wear headphones, you definitely won't. So yeah, looking through games, Metal Gear Solid 2 has its like hit and miss spots. Same with Metal Gear Solid 3. It's a real shame. It seems like there's a few games that you'd really want to play on this emulator, and maybe just need some more updates. Maybe they'll figure something out. But you can really. Just looking through more of this. Kill Switch works great. Kingdom Hearts great. Haunting Grounds, is that called? Is great. Even Gran Turismo 4. Someone was asking about this on the Reddit. They were saying they couldn't get it to run well, and I had like tested it once, and then I went back to it and tried it some more. This game has a built-in 16:9 mode and a 1080p mode. I'm using those as well, and now I've tested a few different courses on this, and it's mostly running at 100% speed. It's really weird when you play this on the Odin because the vibration just doesn't stop. It feels kind of nice, but you probably want to turn it off if you play this on the Odin. So there's like a couple of corners where it dips a little bit. Oh my god, I can't drive. I think there's only one track where I noticed a bit of slowdown on this game, and it wasn't even that bad, to be honest now. I think I have another save state where I look at New York, I think it is. Oh my god, the vibration isn't stopping. I think it messed up from loading a save state. So this is New York running really well. The thing is, there's a U-turn coming up ahead, and then you come back, and that's where it starts to slow down a little bit. But with the way I've got the settings on now, well, I'll let you decide if you notice it or not. I feel like you feel it a bit more than you notice it. It's weird, even though it says 100%, it's like just slightly. So when I first tested this and went down this road, it was actually losing quite a bit of speed. But for the most part, I got Gran Turismo 4 working very nicely. So this is OpenGL 2X. I think it's got a minus 50% underclock. Hardware readbacks off, or hardware download mode disabled rather. That's the new setting. I do advise, if you download a new update to A4SX2, like you get the alpha version or something, to reset the app settings, because like in a couple of the new updates in particular, they moved some of the settings around to different places, and they're trying to optimize it to work as best as possible. So it's a good idea to reset those settings and then start tweaking a little bit again. But yeah, look, Gran Turismo 4 running dope. I can't remember if I haven't tried these, but there might have been someone saying that God of War doesn't work. I can't remember. I haven't tested it, so I can't actually tell you. Was there anything else here? The Devil May Cry games work fantastic. Dark Cloud 2 runs fantastic. Do I have a save state? I was playing it for a bit, but I lost interest. Oh, I think I've been using the memory card exclusively for this game because I was a lot further than this. Yeah. I think if I reset the game. I'm just, I'm not super into like dungeon crawling games with very repetitive looking dungeons and stuff. Very repetitive combat. But if you really like this game, you know, I can just show you that it actually runs really well. Can't actually remember where I am. Oh, I'm in this dude's little underground thing. Because there's like level after level of like underground dungeon. I was getting bored, so I stopped playing, but some people can do it. Yeah, I didn't really notice any slowdown in this game. Runs fantastic. If you're really into your PlayStation 2 RPGs, pretty much in for a treat with this device. Some of them have some problems. I think I wanted to play Rogue Galaxy. That game has some dips here and there, but I really need to test it again, especially now with the improved patches. And someone told me about Wild Arms 4. There's a really weird thing in that game that whenever you open the menu, like just your regular menu to look at items and things, suddenly it slows down like crazy. But it's mainly the music, whereas your inputs are actually not affected very much. Oh, I don't want to take a picture. I forgot all the buttons. I really have forgotten all the buttons. I was trying to shoot him. Or hit him. Oh, it's what I said before, when I play badly, when I look at stuff on these videos, it's true. It's mostly because I forgot the buttons. Right. And I show that let's have a look at Chaos Legion. So Chaos Legion, when I got the Odin and I got Aether SX2 and I looked at Chaos Legion, it did not work. It just didn't work. I can even show the same stage. Was it stage 2? So you'd start the stage, as soon as any enemies showed up, just huge drops, unplayable. And then there was an update with disable hardware readbacks, and I turned that off, and suddenly the game runs amazing. Like, never dipped, 100% perfectly smooth. Look at this, all these enemies. I'm gonna call my own things. Let's get the party started. And it just doesn't slow down. 3 months ago this game was unplayable, now it's playable. And now my summons are dead. I completed this whole game on hard mode. It's really hard. And your summons actually are quite useless. It's better to just use your attacks and well, if I could get my summons alive again, because this particular one you kick like a football and it's really, really effective. Chaos Legion's the kind of game, when you start it, it seems kind of like average, and then as you go through the game, it still doesn't like prove to itself that it's got like great level design or anything like that, but you get so much more powerful and it gets really addictive in that way. So yeah, again, I've done a video on this. Chaos Legion is now very, very playable. Really awesome. Since the start of the video, yeah, 22% battery in the last nearly an hour and a half. Wow, this is my longest video to date. Really is. Burnout 3 is playable as well, but nothing much has changed there. You're still at 1x but it runs good, so hard to complain. I hope I didn't mess around with the settings for this, because it should be running really good. I would love to see this game running, you know, at pretty much 100% at 2x resolution. I don't know if we'll ever get there. At the end of the day, no matter what they do with updating the emulator, performance is performance. You need the hardware to do it. So I actually would have loved an Odin with a slightly more powerful Snapdragon chip in it. I would have loved that. But the Loki's coming, and the Loki might be the answer. So I'm really looking forward to getting the Loki, hopefully later on this year. Alright, that's a look at PlayStation 2. So we're basically at the end of the video now, finally. There's also Switch, which I said I wouldn't really cover much, but I just do want to show that Switch is definitely playable. Games like Celeste, so much improvement has happened. It's a bit iffy at the start for some reason, but a couple of months ago, this screen right here was like 30 or less frames, and now, oh, A's over here. Now when you get in the game, it runs between 50 and 60 frames and is very playable, very smooth. I'm not really interested in Switch emulation on this device. But some games work, and some games work very well, so this game in particular. And also Sonic. This is basically like the first game on this emulator which runs perfectly, 60 frames the whole time, doesn't drop, which is really cool. If you want to play Sonic Mania, you can on this emulator on the Odin. I was actually surprised that Sonic Mania doesn't have an Android port. Oh, I didn't transfer my save data. That's the thing with this emulator, is because it's still in development, there's a lot of like stuff you take for granted. Whenever you have to install a new version of this, you got to uninstall the current version, install the new version, and if you haven't copied your save files and things over, then yeah, you got to do it all over again. There's been like this bit on the screen for ages that I haven't taken off. Even the special stage on the Odin runs perfectly, which surprised me. I didn't expect it to. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to get to it. I know it's like close. Ooh, look at me go. Actually, I have no idea where it is. Oh, there it is. Yeah, the 3D bit, and it runs flawlessly, no drops. So Skyline emulator is something that's constantly being updated. At the moment, it's been getting like weekly updates, nothing substantial, but every now and then there's some kind of update that shows that some game is running even better now, and it's like quite exciting. Even games like Hollow Knight are getting better and better. So let's have a look at one more game on here. Also, you'll see I have Turtles. I was mostly curious. You can play this on Game Pass, and you know, it's on all other stores as well. It's very good. It's definitely worth buying if you're into your beat 'em ups. So this is Cuphead, and Cuphead's recently just got some new DLC. It looks very good. Again, go buy it if you own it somewhere else. So I'm not sure exactly what frame rate this game is meant to be playing at, but it feels smooth enough. We'll see. I haven't tested this level in a while, actually. Actually, it does feel like it could be a touch smoother, but some of that animation does seem to be good. Oh, here we go. We've got some slowdown now. So as I said, you know, we're going to see more updates for games like this as they come. Eventually, one day, this game will run perfectly smooth on this device. I believe that. So if you're someone that does want Switch emulation on the Odin, there will be a time for it, but I don't think that time is now. I think if you really want that kind of thing and you want it handheld, there's new devices coming that can handle this. So maybe the Steam Deck, I haven't actually looked a lot into Steam Deck with Switch, but some of the even newer devices like the AYN Loki and even AYA's newest devices like the NeoGeek 2, they've even announced an even newer one with a detachable GPU, which is crazy. They're making so many devices. And that's it. That Skyline is the last emulator I wanted to look into. We're at an hour and a half now of looking at different things on the Odin. It's been quite in-depth. I hope that was a good insight into what the Odin can do, and if that interests you, then great. I think it's an amazing device. I couldn't exactly tell you if you should get the base or the Pro. I feel like the Pro isn't that much extra, but if you're really on a budget, I think you'll do just fine with a base Odin. But the Lite is coming, and it's soon, but we want to see some reviews. I'm hoping to hear good things about it, because potentially it could be better than the Odin for emulation in some places. So that'll be interesting. But if you're looking to order one, you could be in a long waiting line. But if you really like the Odin, it's great to check out the Reddit. There's the Odin handheld Reddit, and there's also a Discord. Taki's Discord is the one that I think is the home to it. I'll leave a link to that as well. But yeah, this has been the AYN Odin Pro. I absolutely love this thing. I play it all the time. Have done since I got it at the end of January, and I'm also really looking forward to their Loki as well. But we'll have to see how that one turns out. As it is for now, this one's turned out fantastic, and I think it's great. I just have to apologize that the video is very long. It would have been hard to do a quicker review, but thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy that, give it a like, subscribe. I don't know a hand gesture for subscribe. I haven't thought about it. And I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you later. Bye bye.